All right, all all this we still got to do the intro for the we still got to do the intro for the podcast. So like it's crazy that I gotta do all this first. So everyone that's looking on YouTube right now, like hey, and we still got to do some other stuff. So in case you guys don't know, this is our first time actually doing it through IG Live, and we got to do it. We got to. There's separate ways that we got to do it. So YouTube is on first, and about to do.
Try to see if we're live yet.
Look at that. I don't know how.
It worked.
IG says we're live.
IG says we're live. Is it on mute?
Yeah.
It is. See, you're on mute and I'm not. Hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can.
hear you.
Will's acting up already. He can't even make it work. This is crazy.
See, the problem is I can't hear you guys right now.
Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah,
I
can you hear me?
can't hear his voice.
You can't
So am I
hear
able
anyone.
to-
Will sucks at fantasy football. Don't listen to
Like an
anything
old
he said. He's so bad.
This is classic.
Will Boomer Will can't
Okay,
get
I
shit
think
to
I
work.
figured it out.
Mike, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Will sucks. Will's so bad.
We're gonna get better on our communication, guys.
Mike
and we
Lou
will.
sucks too. Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, dork. Okay. So that being said, I don't know. Let's go ahead and do our intro. Action.
We are NXT.
It's been a while, man. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I hate fantasy because I'm out of it, but you know, I'm here with my boys.
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Good seeing you guys. It does feel like it's been a minute, so I'm glad to be back.
So that being said, it sounds like it's been a minute since each and every one of you has heard. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon, and whatever. See, I got to work on that. Anyway, it's your boy, Will, back again. And it is the season finale, the conclusion of the season of the Next Up Fantasy Show. Thank you guys for joining us. It's so wonderful that you guys are here at this time. And once again, this is our very first time actually doing Instagram Live, so it's actually kind of a dope thing to actually do this. And usually we just do this as a pre-recording, and then from there we just post it on YouTube and that's it. But nah. Today's a monumental day. It would have been more dope if I could do it if I had the time to actually do it with another certain person that is usually absent on a regular basis, because about 2 years ago, this is when we first started this show. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about Mr. Michigan State over here, Manny B. and Manny. So let's go ahead and introduce him first. Manny, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you? How are the people out there on Instagram Live? This is bringing back memories, Will. Our first episode we started, we were trying to break down every team every week, and it took like 2 hours to do an IG Live. Well, now we're back. We cleaned it up. We added a great co-host, probably the best, in the world, because he's a Cowboys fan, of course. So, and his hatred of Michigan, we just bonded. So, we're improving, Will.
1 year at a time. We're just getting slowly better. So, so great to have you on here, Manny. And the co-host that he won't shut up about is one of my oldest friends, Mr. Mike Thesis. How you doing, man?
I mean, I appreciate the love, guys. I really, really do. I'm happy to be here now. I didn't know about the history of that, so that was dope for me to find out. But I'm here now. I do what I can. I hate who I can hate. I do love hating Michigan, and I hope Alabama destroys them. But we all know that's going to happen. But on another note, today I'm just really really excited to see the Cowboys bounce back. Hopefully, Saturday night game is kind of different, but we're going to see what we can do. And people who are in fantasy championships, if you were lucky enough to make it, hopefully we have some tidbits and some suggestions we can give you so that you can win your league. I'm doing this from my phone today, so I apologize for any kind of I don't know if it doesn't sound right, but I'm new to this live thing too, so let's get it, guys.
You know what? Actually, you actually sound pretty solid. So I'm really digging this right now. So
you said I needed a microphone earlier, so now I feel a certain kind of way.
And you still need a microphone. We are going to get you a microphone for next season. It needs to be crispy. Crispy is this lineup. But anyway,
hey, we'll keep hitting those parlays. So I need that I need a Shure microphone because you have the money. You know what I'm saying?
Mike Will does have the money.
Mike's
too busy traveling the world. He doesn't have money.
Yeah, man, I'm broke.
I was say this guy he's in California. Is like the most expensive state in the country.
Yeah,
so
man,
like,
come on.
So he can afford all that. Like us here, we're peons, man. But
you know how much you guys to pay in taxes?
Hella.
Yeah, so we have to save that discussion for another show. I don't want to bore the people, but yeah.
Let's not bore them. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and get to the subject.
Before we start, Mike, this is how bad Will was in the first year. I spent like 3 hours doing this whole summary on each team, and we would go 30 minutes per team on who to start, who to sit, and everything. I felt bad for some of the viewers because if you weren't into fantasy football like we are, we probably bored a lot of people, didn't we, Will?
And I think we bored so many people. The problem and there was, and the biggest problem actually I think out of all was the fact that we were trying something new on a totally different platform that had nothing to do with fantasy football at the time. So when we took over the page, it was myself and Manny, and I remember I didn't have a haircut. So like it was a really bushy version of me and Manny just talking fantasy football for like 2 hours. Like two and a half hours on live, and then there were people that were high in the in this case it was the sports card hobby that kept on going in and out of the show, and that they expected to see somebody else, and when they saw that it was us, they just went ghost. So like I remember like very vividly my Manny, one of them was Ken Golden. So
yep.
So
They said, "Dang, it's the minorities. Let's get off."
Exactly, and that being said, we added a third minority on our team.
I'm here.
And he's here. We here. So I mean, we're here a couple years later. So once again, if this is your first time watching us on ever, first of all, welcome. Second, like we usually do the we usually talk about like certain subjects, one or two subjects, and then from there we actually do a pick based on positions. Like myself, I deal with the quarterbacks. Manny deals with the wide receivers. Running back belongs to Mike, and we don't do tight ends because nobody cares. So that being said, but this year, but right now for this season finale, first of all, if you made it to a championship, congratulations. If you're Manny, what happened?
I got cheated.
You got cheated. And
George Pickens decided he wanted to go off. Everyone that I played against went off. It was the worst. I had one of the best teams all year round in one league.
Mm-hmm.
And Sanders decided he wanted to put up 20 points on me. It's just been it's kind of pitiful. DJ Moore, you got hurt. I can't get mad at you for getting hurt, but you got hurt after your first catch. It was pretty rough.
It was pretty rough, and like I said, I was so upset because I was actually preparing for. I mean, we all were because in the league that us three are in together, it was close. It could have been myself versus Manny in the championship. I was actually prepared for that. We were going to have a nice little verbal exchange with each other, but like, now I gotta face a team that I'm actually concerned about. As far as being
all right. That's messed up.
Nate, if you're out there, good luck. You had a really good year this year, but I got to try to repeat this year. So
No,
that
you
be
got
so that being said, yeah. So that being said,
my kicker fucking oops, Michigan player kicker
live
decided
now.
not to do anything. The 49ers decided to shit the bed, and I lost because of your stupid team.
yeah, it's gonna be difficult for me to edit all that because we're live. It can't be done. So that being said, so we're gonna go to the general. We're just gonna do a general conversation this week. We're not gonna talk about too much about the finals since there's a little bit more things I want to talk about. Like I want to talk about the future. So that being said, we're going to do something that we actually enjoyed a couple episodes ago, and it's simply called name association. So I'm going to be putting a name on the screen here, and then from there, I'm going to have Mike and or Manny give their opinions on each of these players. Some of them I didn't have time to actually write their names, so I'll probably say a couple of them on top of my head. And this is just going to be a thought of what they think these players are going to do for either let's go for tomorrow as well as their future for both real life and fantasy. So a lot to think about. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to go with Mike on this one, and first up, Derrick Henry.
Washed. He's washed.
I was going to say it's the same thing. Done. Manny, you want to put in a quick word?
Toast.
There you go. So it's been real,
Do not
Derrick.
draft him early. There's going to be this is more in the future. He's going to come out and be a top 3 pick, like top 3 round pick. I'm avoiding him at all costs.
I want to see if he gets traded. I want to see if he gets traded first, and it may depend on where he gets traded. But I mean, Tajay Spears is going to be good next year. Manny, I'm gonna give you. This should be a fun one. Anthony Richardson.
Future GOAT. He's going to draft him early as much as possible. This guy's going to be the next Lamar Jackson. So no, I'm joking, but yeah, I think he's going to be legit for fantasy purpose because he could run. So you're going to get your rushing yards. I think he's a better Justin Fields. Sorry, Mike, but I think his arm strength and everything he could command. It depends, and it also depends on what the Colts. This is all in the future because it depends how the Colts go out and see what they get. Because Jonathan Taylor, he had his issues last year, but you also have these wide receivers. Pittman was hurt on and off, and I don't know. I think they need another key factor there.
You don't believe in? Do you believe in Josh Downs at all?
Not really.
No,
he's a good role player.
I was supposed to say he's okay. He could be an Ayuk. He could be an Ayuk to a Debo.
Yeah. No, he's not an Ayuk.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's that good.
Okay. I mean, I tried. Okay.
Justin Fields just needs to be freed. That's all I'll say about that.
He is being limited a little bit. Okay. Next one, I'll give it to Mike. Tony Pollard. I'm not giving him to Manny because I know what he's gonna say. So Tony Pollard.
This is on Mike.
Tony Pollard, I feel two ways. In my heart of hearts, I feel that he's not a every down running back.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel that he is a very special weapon if utilized in the right system. Like you could use Tony Pollard the right way. There's some coaches I think who could figure out a way to use Tony Pollard the right way. But we don't use, or Mike McCarthy in his system that he uses, he doesn't use Tony Pollard in the way that I think he should be utilized. So in the system that he's currently in, he's not an every down running back. I mean, he's not period an every down bell cow running back. He's not built that way.
Right. I wish I was personally hoping he was, but
I still think there's a place for him on the team in the future. I'm not saying get rid of him. Now I know he's a free agent, so he can't come in and demand like to be the number 1 paid running back in the league. Like, then you have to go. That's not going to happen. But if they could keep him around and add a bell cow running back to complement him, then I would be fine with him being there. I think he could still be a great player.
So I guess my question is, like, how often would you want Pollard to be in in the game so that he could still be relevant. Like
See,
if
I would want
if you want, because like if you want a bell cow for a running back, like we know Tony Pollard is talented, but how much would you want him to be in there so that he could be fantasy relevant?
I'd have Tony Pollard in there for about maybe 10 rushes, 10 to 12 touches, maybe 2-3 passes as well. I'd split him out wide. I'd put him in the slot. I would do different things, but I'm not the coach. We don't utilize him in that way. You know, he was a wide receiver in college. They don't even utilize that skill set. They just try to run him up the middle. So for me personally, I think that if they utilized him in a better way, he could be effective. So to answer your question, I guess I believe he should be getting about between 10 to 15, maybe 10 to 12 touches a game is what I would give Tony Pollard. That would relegate him to being definitely an RB2, and that's probably where he would be, unless you're playing in a PPR league. But in real football, he'd probably be your RB2. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't want him anywhere near goal line situations because he lacks the power to be able to get in the end zone.
Like it would be the flex of all flexes. Like that's kind of how we see it. That like the best flex that you can ever have. That would be his floor. That's kind of how I see it. And then low tier one would be his ceiling. But like he just like so from there he'll just be practically in the middle of as a RB2. Manny, Sam Laporta.
I have bad this is recency bias because he was on my team and he almost put up a gooser on me, and that's the reason why I lost. And not in the championship against you. But he's gonna be a stud. Jared Goff likes Sam Laporta, so if he stays in that system in Detroit, he's gonna be good next year. Probably he's gonna go quick. He's gonna be like I feel like people are gonna try to get him like around that Mark Andrews range. So you're gonna have to pay heavy. I'm probably gonna avoid him next year because of his price point.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, do you feel that like with how he's played, and as long as as long as his consistency stays a little bit, like, do you feel that like we'll get to Kelsey in a minute, but like if Kelsey stays, and then from there would be Mark Andrews, usually George Kittle-ish area. Would you go Laporta over Kittle?
Yes, he's probably gonna go over.
So would you go Andrews over Kittle?
Yes.
If Kelsey stays, would you put him over Kelsey?
No.
Okay. So
I having a rough year this year.
I was like,
I think a lot of people, you're going to get Kelsey at a discount because so many people got burnt this year with drafting him so early. He's going to fall.
And we talked about that on the show. That was the stupidest idea for him to be, maybe not the stupidest, but it was one of those things where you had such a high expectation for a tight end of all people, and then from there, nothing really came out of it on a positive note for him. So that being said, I mean, now that we're on the subject, I'll go ahead and give it to Mike. Travis Kelce Swift, where do you see him?
Where do I see them? I don't care about them, man. But from a football perspective, I definitely agree with what Manny said. He's somebody I'll be targeting next year because I think you'll be able to get him lower in drafts. People are taking him extremely high. You guys already pretty much hit every nail on the mark on this one. I agree with you guys when it comes to Kelsey. The Kelsey Swift thing, I don't know, man. It seemed like they were doing a little better before they hooked up. But I don't know, man. I don't get into all that stuff.
Mike doesn't want the Swifties after him.
I don't want him after him.
No, you don't. He doesn't want the Swift smoke.
He's trying to set you up.
You see that?
No. Okay. So we'll just talk. Okay, forget it. We'll talk about just Travis. I mean, I talked about wanting or not wanting to do with Kelsey because of, like, I know it sounds weird, but because of not only age, but like with how the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be. Like there was still so much uncertainty with the receivers that were going to be brought in. And yes, Travis Kelce is going to be okay for a tight end, but he's not the top five overall fantasy good tight end. So like I'm actually going to say that he actually goes by the word that he's been talking about. He might retire this year. So I'm kind of throwing it out there, and then from there, let's see how good Patrick Mahomes really is. I'm joking. Patrick Mahomes is good.
Yeah, say, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we might as well get to him. Manny Patrick Mahomes.
I still think he's a stud. Everyone has bad years or a couple bad games. I mean, Tom Brady did it, and people like signed him off. And then what happened when the time came? People are trying to make like these theories, like he only wins at home in playoffs.
Mhm.
This is the year he's going to prove that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So,
And I think this is the beginning of what we see as far as the decline of Mahomes next year, because just like you said, there was no way that he was going to be able to sustain everything that he's done within the past year or within the past couple of years. And now that we see him, he's at what the team is what now 9-6, which is a bit out of place for Mahomes. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, now a lot of people understand how the Kansas City Chiefs run, even with some of the trick plays that they do with their running backs and Travis Kelce. So we'll see if they switch it up a little bit different next year and see how that goes.
They're 9-6, but easily could be 11-4 without Tony. Tony screwed him in 2 games.
They're 9-6, but there was times that they could have been 7-9 and 7-8.
Yeah, I mean, Tony dropping the ball against Detroit week 1.
That was hilarious.
Wide open, and then he lines off sides and against the Bills? Or who are they playing?
It was the Bills.
Yeah, Bills, yeah. They easily have those 2 in the bag. Also, there's also a shining star in Chiefs that no one's really talking about, Raheem Rice.
No one talks about him because that person doesn't exist.
Oh, not really. You know who I'm talking about.
Rashid.
I was about to say, Mike, who is he talking about?
my boy.
But yeah, but yeah, so
got that right.
No, so the problem with Rashid Rice was the fact that don't do that.
You said it wrong.
First Olaf. Anyway, the problem with Rice is generally the fact that what is Rashid Rice? Anyway, the problem with Rashid Rice is the fact that he wasn't getting enough snaps. Like he was always in like the 30 to 40% range as far as how much he's in there. And then like within the past couple of weeks, like I think they were trying to over rely on Kadarius Toney, and look what happened to Kadarius Toney multiple times. And with that being said, Rice ended up actually improving himself, getting more and more snaps. And of course, we saw the more and more snaps he got, the more trust and reliability that he got from Patrick Mahomes, the more reliability from there. And it ended up being him being actually a late stud for fantasy teams. So yeah, so we'll actually see how that generally goes with both Mahomes and Rice in this case. This was my favorite one because I'm really curious what everyone thinks, because we talked about him throughout the year as a underrated player this year. Mike, Rachaad White.
Rachaad White. You know what? I didn't own Rachaad White in any leagues. I really don't pay a lot of attention to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what I did see from Rachaad White, I liked. I don't think I'm as high on him as you guys, but I definitely still think that he is probably most definitely top 10, right? Top 10 running back this year. And I think he's going to do that again next year. I think because he doesn't play on a team that's really like sexy, I think like kind of more for you to be a football head to kind of know like what Rachaad White is doing. So I think if you play in a league with novices, he's a good target. He's somebody you can probably get maybe a little later than you should be able to get him. But if you play in a league with people who know, he's going to be a target next year. So if you like Rachaad White, go get him. And you're probably going to have to get him earlier next year than you got him this year.
Second rounder to the latest, I would pick up Rachaad White.
Yeah,
that's my personal thought. But it also does depend who else is going to be in that round, because who knows how everyone's going to draft this year or this coming year. This was the year of wide receivers, everyone picking them first, and then a bunch of stud running backs were in the beginning to mid of the second round. So we'll see how it all plays out. Do you have a thought, Manny?
I mean, if you listen to this show, you would have had Rachaad White on your team. I think he's on my team. So I think we both kind of had him. And I have like I said, we have it's new for Instagram Live. I'm reading the comments. We have Cage in the chat, and he's talking about how Amon Ra is going to cook basically the Cowgirls tonight. But that's another player that Will and I were early on was Amon Ra. And now this guy. But Rachaad White's going to be a stud. I think he's a sleeper. A lot of people still, I mean, if you're not, like Mike said, if you're not into like football like heavy, he's not a name that people talk about all the time.
Right.
So I don't know. He's like one of those sleeper running backs, and I think he's going to be consistently good. So it's going to be a good to keep him.
Well, first of all, what up, Cage? How you doing, man? Second of all, yeah, Rachaad White was a it's kind of a lesson in general fantasy that you can actually learn. Like in this case, regardless of how the lesson in this case was, regardless of how good or bad of a team is, what's more important than all of that is actually the volume that a player can get. So like last year, Rachaad White, toward the end of the season, he was more of a pass catcher than an actual runner. But like this year, slowly, might I add, he ended up finally he was able to actually get into it as far as becoming a decent not only running back but also a pass catcher. And he was literally everything that I wanted to. I'm not going to say Tony Pollard. That's kind of bad. He was everything that I wanted.
Trigger us, Mike.
It almost worked. Everything that he was everything I wanted. Actually, I would say Dameon Pierce. He was everything I wanted Dameon Pierce to be this year, because I kept reading that he was going to get better with the pass catching this season, but it just didn't work out for him. So that being said, yeah, I'm not, if I'm paying for him, I'm not going to let him go past the second round if I have the availability.
That's why I love watching like these last couple weeks, because there's players that you could get on a discount next year that you're kind of seeing the potential this year.
Right.
White was one of them last year. You saw at the end he started getting more and more usage, and you're like, let's take a risk on him in a mid round, and turned out it was a well risk for you if you actually drafted him instead of getting like a Miles Sanders.
Right. So actually, let me go ahead and go to. I'm actually looking at the.
You could tell Will's like getting distracted with Instagram Live. He's got YouTube Live.
Brand new. It's good to actually have it. It's good to actually have
new
the option.
things.
I'm actually surprised I don't have my iPad instead.
Look at this guy.
I'll put my iPad on the side because
I'm surprised you notice he hasn't done any
comments.
49ers fans, Mike, or any 49er players. He doesn't want us to torch them.
I know this is true. Yeah, he kind of avoids them.
Yeah, he goes Tony Pollard, and then I don't see anything about Brock Purdy.
Manny, Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy next year. System quarterback. No, I'm joking. It's like I would want him late round. He's still going to go late round, right? But he has weapons, right? The dump off to Christian McCaffrey for 50 yards. Guess who gets points in that? You get Christian McCaffrey, but Brock Purdy gets the points for the yards and the touchdown. So I like that. The yards after catch from Debo and Brandon Ayuk, you get. I don't know. It's kind of hard not to go Brock Purdy late as like a sleeper round if you don't want to go and reach for, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or something like that. You have Brock Purdy and you have some decent wide receiver and running backs.
So do you believe that
49ers suck? Yeah.
I think this is kind of a good comparison. Do you believe that Brock Purdy can be this year's version of Tua?
No,
because Tua got picked pretty late. Like he was because with everyone picking both Waddle and Tyreek Hill in the first and second round, like no one didn't pay attention to Tua until like the 9th, 10th round.
But no offense to Debo and Brandon Ayuk, but they're not Waddle and Hill caliber.
I'll agree, they're not.
It's kind of like a discount version of Tua.
No one's Tua. let's
Not
just
saying
call it.
not saying like on the field.
not-
I'm saying fantasy football wise, for
Right.
points.
Right. No, and that's fine. I can go with that. Mike's boy, Joe Burrow.
It's on me, Joe. I like Joe. You guys know that.
Right.
Like I said, we've said it many times. You don't draft based on injury, or we don't really draft that way. So I would say Joe's pretty much in the same position that he was in last year. I take him around the same place I took him last year or this year, depending on how you want to look at it. I think I got Joe maybe like in the 6th round.
Okay.
6th round. So that's about where I would take him next year if he was available. At that point in the draft, you probably, if you're like me, I don't really draft quarterback early. I kind of wait later. And I draft based off their offensive weapons. So as long as he's still going to have T. Higgins, we might not have. I think T's a free agent. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But as long as he has Jamar Chase and Taj Boyd and all those weapons, I think that he's a decent pick at that point in the draft. So I'd still go with Joe. Just got to hope he doesn't get hurt.
Hey, Mike, question
I know.
for you.
I was about to say that. Yeah, go ahead.
But he's going to start off slow. So you might want to draft a backup quarterback for those first 4 weeks. I'll throw that out there.
I got a question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Is Burrow a system quarterback? Browning stepped in and put up similar numbers, is what we have in the chat.
I know. And I don't believe Joe is. I believe Joe showed us enough, but I don't know. That argument can be made. I think I liked Browning at Washington. I think Browning's a good player. But I don't think that Joe Burrow's a system quarterback. I think Joe's talented, but like I said, that argument can be made.
I mean, Burrow did at least get him to a Super Bowl, so I can't be too mad. Do you think Browning could bring him to a Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
The thing with Burrow, though, and the reason why he fell to the 6th round, Mike, is because depending on where you draft, he got injured, remember, in preseason. So if you're not the commissioner, like, try to get the draft as late as possible, because you could be drafting Joe Burrow super early and then he gets hurt, right? Then you're stuck. Then you're stuck with what? Well, we have Browning. If you had Flacco right now, you'd probably be in the championship. But you're kind of going week by week on who's my quarterback. I don't know if Burrow's going to fall to the 6th round, because
he doesn't have to, though, because you can stream quarterbacks nowadays. I'm just saying that's why I wouldn't take him before that. So in that scenario, I guess I just wouldn't get him. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't reach for him.
Browning would have won the Super Bowl, is what I'm reading.
Now it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to
They're spicy out there today.
Right. It's a little bit harder nowadays to do streaming quarterbacks now. So is in that case, is it a case of and I hate to even think about this as a thought, but do you believe that drafting a backup quarterback should be more of a necessity versus an option this coming year?
I think that depends on the league and roster size, man. I really do. The league that you're in, and the league you're in, the amount of rosters positions that you have. If you have limited roster space, then no, I don't. Because like I said, it's funny, and you're right. It is harder to stream quarterbacks nowadays, but a lot of the teams I've seen this year who have been successful have been doing just that. So I still think there's value in that. If you can't get one of the select guys, I'm just saying don't reach for somebody.
One thing that I noticed with all my leagues that's changing, kind of like the way people think. About 2 or 3 years ago, everyone was drafting running back heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's changing to a wide receiver draft type of draft.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because how many running backs in the 1st round actually did something besides? I mean, even that question: how many running backs in the 1st round actually produced to 1st round value? You have Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler was hurt, Nick Chubb got hurt. Barkley hasn't been Barkley; he was hurt as well. So the people that drafted Tyreek Hill, on the other hand, and probably went Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb around that area, because that you could have easily gotten that, are killing it right now, probably in the championship. So I think next year people are going to start going wide receiver heavy. I bet like we had like 20, it was probably like 50-50 this year in the first round, wide receiver, running back. It's going to be 75-25, I think.
I mean, Mike kind of always knew that I've always been like a fan of trying to get as much decent running backs, or excuse me, wide receivers as quickly as possible, because that's just the way that fantasy football is now. So like if there's a way that like, and I think I talked about it with strategy with Manny for a little bit, like if you're early, if you can find a stud, if you can get a stud running back in the beginning, and then from there just pound the daylights out of wide receiver for the next at least 3 rounds, then you're gonna that's like it's a good start. And then from there, like rounds 6 or 7, like you can get your second running back, and like in round 8 and beyond you can get, like, you don't need the best quarterback, you just need a serviceable one, so to get by. So that's kind of how I've been like for the past at least 2 years. But like I was about to say now maybe
shift in philosophy. Go for it, Will. My bad.
No, I was just going to say it's just going to be a little bit harder to do that now, since more people are into that. So next year I got to learn how to zig when everyone else zags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always want to be ahead of the curve, right? I mean, for dinosaurs like myself, who've been playing fantasy since like 2001. It's like back then, like it was, you might go running back first 3 rounds, and that philosophy's definitely shifted. So those of us or those of you, because I think this year I kind of got the picture, but it took me a little longer to get there because, I was kind of so stuck in a model that had been successful for so long. But those people who are ahead of the curve are looking really good now, like Manny and Will are saying. So always be aware and kind of try to have an eye out for what's next. But for right now, I agree. Wide receivers are dominating in the early rounds.
In your league, one of the years I remember, I picked up, I had the first overall pick, and who did I pick of all people? Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I think it was because that was before you started making it a PPR league.
Okay.
Hence my name on that league. But also quarterbacks actually had heavier. They're more heavy. They're more important as far as touchdowns. And I think the year before, Aaron Rodgers had a hell of a showing for like 40 plus touchdowns or something like that the year prior. So I think that's why I went that way. I'm sorry. I just see Manny like going up to the mic and
No, you're good.
got something to say?
Nope.
That
Okay.
game's about to come on. He's probably thinking, man.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. All right. So I'll try to cut this. I'll try to cut this short just because
It's Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson today.
because this guy doesn't want to DVR it. Okay. Anyway.
Who DVR? What is this boomer talk? Who DVRs the game?
I do sometimes. Anyway, moving on. Manny. Cooper Kupp.
Oh, he pissed. Nope. Next. Nope. Mike, I pass.
Should I give him another one instead?
No,
he
Mike
has.
can get
I mean, he has
Cooper Kupp.
nothing to say about Cooper
Overrated.
Kupp. I mean,
His past is the best thing that's happened to him because
you loved him like 2 years ago.
I
remember
did.
this. Yeah.
He screwed me.
Okay. It's a thin line between love and hate.
Personal vendettas. Okay, I see.
That line is thin.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try something different in this case.
He's gonna trigger me.
Let's see. No, I won't trigger you this time. Mike,
Jalen Hurts.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Man, what? Josh Allen's a beast.
2.0.
Yeah, Josh Allen is a monster. I've loved the way he plays. I love his game. I hate playing the Bills because he's so hard to stop. And in fantasy, I mean, Josh Allen is. I mean, there are weeks where he throws interceptions and he's human, so he'll have a bad game every once in a while. But he's one of the more consistent fantasy quarterbacks for sure. You can win a league with Josh Allen. He's one of the few exceptions I do have to not drafting quarterbacks early. If you want to go ahead and get Josh Allen, even as early as might sound crazy to some, even as early as the second, go for it. I'm not mad at you if that's the way you want to construct your team. He's a game changer. I like Josh Allen. I don't know what we got, Manny. You like Josh Allen?
Next year, it depends if Diggs stays.
That's
There's
fair.
always been hype that Diggs wants out, and I don't know. yeah, Josh Allen has like the running factor, right? But that's going to
Mhm.
catch up on you. That's going to catch up. If you're in a league where picks are -4, where some are, Josh Allen, I wouldn't be drafting him that early. I know I think Mike won the trade overall, but I think it was kind of even out because I got James Cook in the mix. And you see what he's doing. That's another player. I know, sidebar. That's another player that you want to look at. That's a sleeper for next year. He's starting to produce at the end of the year. Same with Brees Hall. But yeah, Josh Allen. I don't know. I drafted him early this year. I should have probably kept him. I'd probably be in the championship. But oh well, it is what it is.
Okay, I'll do two more, one each, and then we'll wrap this up. Speaking of people that might have or might not have cost you to go into the championship, Manny, Justin Fields.
I wish Jeremy was still in here. He was in the chat talking crap earlier when you weren't even in here. He said, one tip, replace the guy in the green. I think he has marbles in his head. And then he said, can't wait, Will to bench Manny. You're not in. He said, I'm not in his starting lineup in fantasy. So
Wow.
Jeremy is a Bears fan, Mike. If you didn't know, he's the one that does Too Thick with me.
Okay.
But yeah, Justin Fields, like Mike said, he's going to stay a Bear. He's so up and down, and it could be coaching. But man, it's a roller coaster if you have him on your team. He'll put up 40 and then the next game put up 10. So if you're willing to have that, and he's a good, decent mid-round quarterback. He's going to drop. He's not going to be one of these top quarterbacks. But if you need someone that can get you rushing yards and occasionally throw 3 touchdowns, then you want Justin Fields. And that's kind of what I wanted. I was trying to construct my lineups to have really good wide receivers and running backs and then get like a Justin Fields. So,
Well, we'll do this. We'll do the same exercise that we did during the season, and what we just did a few minutes ago with Travis Kelce or with Sam Laporta. Would you draft Justin Fields over Justin Herbert?
no.
Would you draft Justin Fields over Joe Burrow?
No. If Joe Burrow's healthy.
The next person that I'll be talking about with Mike, CJ Stroud.
Would I draft Justin Fields over CJ Stroud?
Yeah.
No. I would probably draft CJ Stroud over Justin Fields.
And I will say for the last one, let's go. I could have said Dak Prescott, but I'm not going to say that.
Say
I'll
it.
draft Dak.
Dak
Yeah, I
Prescott,
draft Dak.
Dak Prescott is probably I'm not going to say perfect, but he is the quintessential mid-round quarterback for you. Like he's not going to always have like the 3 or 4 touchdown 300-yard games, but he keeps you up there, and kudos for him for not going as hard on interceptions this year. So props to him.
He usually doesn't.
It's called the play calling, Will.
Yeah, he usually doesn't. That was kind of an anomaly. I tried to tell people, but it's okay.
Just saying. All right. And once again, finally, Mike, CJ Stroud.
How do I feel about CJ Stroud next year?
Right.
CJ, or this year, however it goes. I hope he plays tomorrow. Is he going to play tomorrow?
He's playing tomorrow.
Awesome. So
Just time for me to be out of the playoffs.
And
I know, right?
Just in time for me for the championship, because God, I was sick of like streaming those quarterbacks. It was insane. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was going to say that's funny because that sucks because I lost in a different league because CJ Stroud I was relying on him and it sucked. But I think CJ Stroud is really, really good. I think that we finally got one, right? Ohio State finally has a quarterback who seems like they can play in the NFL. So it's cool. We can get that monkey off our back. But
you got Joe Burrow.
It's okay. I don't know. we'll talk about that at a later date. Yeah, there's some LSU fans who probably want to argue that, so I don't want to argue right now. But I think C.J. Stroud will be a top flight elite quarterback for years to come. As long as they continue to surround him with weapons. He has Nico Collins, he has Tank Dell. Those guys I'm hoping will grow and become even more impactful than they are this year. But it could get really scary in Houston. Me as a Cowboy fan, that's kind of our state. So I don't want to see the Texans get too good, but I do think C.J. Stroud is special. And I would definitely take a stab on him next year in drafts for sure. Like you said, you asked me with Justin Fields. I would take C.J. Stroud over Justin Fields. I would take C.J. Stroud. The Justin Herbert one is hard, but I would probably take him over Justin Herbert. I could see it going either way though. And I would honestly, and this is crazy, but I would probably take C.J. Stroud even over Dak Prescott, just on what I think he might be able to do in the offense that he's in.
I would take him over Prescott too next year.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, Prescott is still okay. He's still your median, and I think C.J. Stroud is going to be just about that same too, because I think it's just generally because of the fact that we're used to seeing C.J. Stroud and the Texans in general falling behind in games. So it just creates more pass volume and things of that nature for Stroud and the Texans. So we'll just see how things look up for the rest of the season, these last two games. I would actually love to see the Texans actually make the playoffs this year if they can.
Can I throw a question to you? Just a real quick one.
Go ahead.
Since we're on C.J. Stroud, would you still feel highly about him, let's say next year, if they were able to maybe go out and get like a really good running back? Because what if his volume decreases next year? I mean, this year for a while, they didn't really have a running game, especially didn't have a running game when they had your boy Pierce back there. Singletary eventually kind of figured it out. But let's say they get somebody elite. Let's say they draft a guy or something. How would you feel about C.J. Stroud then if maybe he wasn't throwing the ball as much?
To someone answer the first part or to be to that first part that you talked about with Dameon Pierce and Singletary. Singletary became Tony Pollard from years past. And what I would like for them to avoid if they don't do a running back, if they don't get a running back, I would like for them to avoid not making Devin Singletary a 1A, kind of like what they did with Pollard this year. Like, because I feel that the volume of him, because he's not as bulky, he's not as big. Like, we all know that Singletary is good. He was okay out over in Buffalo, but like with what happened this year, that's the role that he's meant to play. So that's one portion. But to answer the question about if they get a running back next year, I would actually feel more bad for the running back versus the quarterback. So I think C.J. Stroud will still be fine because C.J. Stroud will still have a way to be creative so that he can still get the points that he deserves and things like that. He'll still get 2 touchdowns. It's just that if he does, okay, let's put it this way. I would say if he gets a running back, if the Texans get a decent running back this year, C.J. Stroud's ceiling is Jalen Hurts last year.
Okay, I like it.
Manny, your thoughts on that question?
I think C.J. Stroud's going to be good regardless of a good running back, because of his weapons. Like, I like Tank Dell. I think I'd be more excited if they got someone else rather than Nico Collins, but that's my personal preference. And you know why? You guys know why. But yeah, I think CJ Stroud's going to be good. He's young and can run. And for fantasy, that's what you want. Quarterback that's young and can run. So, I mean, there's quarterbacks that have less weapons than CJ Stroud.
Right.
And are producing. So I wouldn't be concerned.
Okay, we're gonna get to the positional likes right now because this guy wants to watch a damn game.
Also, we have a question. Josh Anderson said, "Where do you think Marvin Harrison's going? Where do you think, Mr. Ohio State?"
Where do I think he's gonna go? I think he's gonna go to Chicago.
I think he's gonna stay in Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I don't think he goes pro next year.
Oh no, he's going pro.
You think he's
you
going
don't
pro?
Think so? I mean,
no. Like we talked we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Marvin Harrison,
I don't
he wants to beat Michigan first. Like, and if he has the availability, and I think Mike talked about as long as one of the quarterbacks isn't there, then they probably won't beat him. But like I kind of see him staying this next year, and then from there going somewhere else, and then from there going pro.
I think he goes to the Cardinals. I think Washington Commanders are big on Caleb Williams and are going to try to trade for that first round pick to get him. Bears will drop to 3 in hopes that Marvin Harrison falls, but I think Cardinals, if they stay number 2, end up with Marvin Harrison, which would be really good for Kyler Murray.
Sam Howell wasn't terrible as I thought he would be, but he still got stacked the most in the league. But whatever. Yeah. But I don't think they could rely on him that much. But okay, what was that?
He's a Michigan fan. Attack. No, I'm joking.
So if he's a Michigan fan, then he's probably loving the hell out of what Manny's rocking right now.
Oh yeah,
go Spartans. So let's go ahead and get to the positional likes for the week. So like I said, this is our last show of the season, and we started doing this on a weekly basis just based on who we actually like for this coming weekend. In this case, this is for the championship, baby. So gentlemen, we gotta hit this out of the park for the people who are in championships. So once again, I go with the quarterbacks. Manny does wide receiver. Mike T, he goes through the running backs, and who wants to go first? Actually, does anyone want to volunteer? I'm like the teacher.
I'll go first.
You got it.
Go first.
Go for it.
All right, go, Manny.
But usually try to give like 2, that are kind of for sure shots that you're starting, and then 1 sleeper. My for sure start this week and probably going to have the most points is my boy CeeDee Lamb. Detroit Lions defense secondary has been pretty rough the last couple weeks. I could see CeeDee Lamb going off today. I know there's Lions fans watching, and you're probably like, "Yeah, F off, Manny." But CeeDee Lamb is my number 1 wide receiver this week. I like Nico Collins this week. You're gonna laugh at me, but if CJ Stroud's back, Nico Collins is gonna go off just because Tank Dell's not there, not because it's Nico Collins, but that's the only one to throw it to. And you got Noah Brown, but I think Nico Collins will go off. That's kind of like my little sleeper, and then Rashee Rice, my guy. We just talked about him earlier, playing the Bengals. I think he's gonna be the number 1 receiver from here on out for Kansas City. And that's crazy to say because Travis Kelce is considered a wide receiver, but I think they're going to rely on him a little bit more to step up big time at the end of the year.
Okay, all good. You want to go, Mike, or do you want me to go?
I'll take it. So I'll do the same thing. I'll give you guys two dudes who I think are going to really do really well, and then I'll give you guys another guy who's not really a sleeper, but I'll explain a little bit more when I give you that person. So first, I really like Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams has been on a roll. He's really, really good. He's another running back who probably could have gotten a lot later in drafts, almost on that Rachaad, White tip. So I like him a lot. I think he does well against the Giants. That's probably my number 1 guy. After him, go ahead and give me, well, why not? We talked about him all day. I actually do like Rachaad White against New Orleans. Rachaad White. Yeah, Rachaad White. Why not? We've been telling you guys how good he is. I do like that matchup against New Orleans. And if you're in fantasy championships and you have him, I think that'd be a nice play. My third guy I'm gonna give you isn't a sleeper, but I'm gonna ride Manny's coattails kind of in a certain way. I'm gonna give you Tony Pollard, and I'm only giving you Tony Pollard because we've talked so much crap about him that with our luck, he's probably gonna go off and explode tonight. So if you have Tony Pollard, start him. I do think that he might do something. I do think that he might show out against Detroit, though. Like I said, their defense is okay, but I like Tony Pollard at home in Dallas. He hasn't really played well in a while, like gone off, exploded, and I think it's due. This is time. So let's do it tonight. Let's go, TP.
All right, let's go. And I actually like that. And quick quick alert for baseball fans. If you guys are into that, Chris Sale from the Boston Red Sox just got traded to the Atlanta Braves.
That's
Let's
crazy.
go! No more Chris Sale. Woo!
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. My team's had a crazy offseason, so I'm just leave it at that.
That's actually a fun. That's an interesting trade though. But like he has to make sure that he's not hurt anymore. Looks like Manny left us, so I'll just go ahead and finish up. So for my quarterbacks, usually how I do it, just like everyone else, it's I do two that are kind of a bit off the radar because I don't like to be too super obvious. But this time I'm gonna do three. I'm gonna do three that aren't as super obvious. So first up, I'm actually gonna ride with what Mike talked about with the running backs, and I'm gonna go with Baker Mayfield against New Orleans. It's just generally because of the fact that the Buccaneers, believe it or not, it's still possible that they can get into the playoffs. They could possibly win the division. So to get there, they have to at least try to beat the Saints. And Baker Mayfield has been doing pretty good. Like he's not how he was in the past couple of years as a Brown. He's not how he was last year with, I can't remember what team he was on. But generally he's done a lot better. And I think that Baker Mayfield found a home in Tampa Bay, and as long as everyone sticks together, then they might do decent next year. But until then, he has to at least try to beat these Saints this week. Second person, I'm actually going to go with what should be a high scoring game. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray is starting, because he's still questionable, but this may be the last hurrah for Kyler Murray. We don't know what to expect with him for this coming season afterwards, and if there's any way to show him off as far as what he could do in the future, then this is going to be this will be probably the perfect game. The Philadelphia secondary isn't as great as it used to be, so this will be his best chance to actually show off as far as what he's going to be doing. And the third one, this one, I'm actually going to nominate him for I'm gonna switch it out. So for all three of us, I'm actually going to nominate him as next up. So that being said, I want you guys to look at Jaren Hall this week. Jaren Hall is starting for the Minnesota Vikings. No more Nick Mullins this week, and they're playing against Green Bay. So if there's any kind of chance, I don't think there's a chance for the Vikings to, well, they can't win the division. Detroit already did. But if there's any chance that there could be any kind of positivity in for the Vikings in general for the future, it might not be Nick Mullins, it might be Jaren Hall instead. So remember, Jaren Hall did start earlier this year. He started the week after it was either Josh Dobbs or Kirk Cousins getting hurt, and he actually was doing good so at that time, and then from there he ended up getting hurt. So I'm really curious to see how he plays. He plays against a soft offense, or excuse me, a soft defense. So in Green Bay, so I'm kind of curious to see how he actually ends up showing out. Like, he does look like a two-way quarterback to the point where he is decent at running, and he's actually okay with passing. So I'm just curious to see how that actually goes in the end. So that is my three quarterbacks, and that's a Michigan State hat. Hey, Manny. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is our show for today. That's our show for the season. So let's go ahead and actually do this outro one more time for Mike T. What up? What up?
Hey, guys, it was a blast, man. And I'm looking forward to doing the same thing next year. I feel like every year that we do this, we do improve. I mean, look, we're live now. I remember we were doing it, on and we weren't live. So yeah, just we try to improve every year. I think we do get better at our craft. I know we're still not 100% there yet, but just keep riding with us. And anyone who paid attention to us, what we say, who spend the time to listen to the things that we say throughout the season, who deal with us through our absence or through us being absent, you know, and all the other things that we kind of put you guys through. And it's not just, and I'm not just talking about one person, because a lot of times it's my fault as well. But hey, we really enjoy doing this. We love doing it. We like being here. Just want to let these two guys know that I really enjoy the time that we spend doing this every week, and I hope to keep it going. And good luck to everyone in their fantasy playoffs or fantasy championships, I should say. I didn't do as well in my league as I usually do, so I can't wait till next year to show Manny how I really get down. But yeah, man, it was fun, and that's us, man. Peace out.
I'm gonna talk about the guy that Mike won't talk about. 4, Manny B and Manny.
It was a good season. You know, I had a enemy this year just because of one comment. He said that I would wait and see that I didn't know anything, that the Falcons were going to do good this year. And there would be a top 15 offense and defense.
Oh, that guy.
We don't know anything about football. Well,
My man kept receipts. Oh my God.
I think Atlanta Falcons offense isn't top 15. If I'm thinking that right. Maybe you could, if you're listening, could tell me exactly where they are. I know they're not top 15. You know what else I know? They're not.
Manny?
Oh no, he can't be. I needed
No,
to hear
you
this.
did.
Did I mute myself?
Yes,
I
you
got
did.
muted. Well, I said Falcons are not winning the division, like I said. So, and that's what triggered them. So it is what it is. I know you're upset. I know you're a fan down there in Georgia. You guys lost to Alabama. You guys aren't making the playoffs in NFL. At least you got soccer down there. And I'm
Do they have
sorry.
soccer? Do they have soccer?
He went
okay.
in. He went in. That's
So-
how he really feels. I
So
respect it.
so that we can actually answer it, it's more so the offense that didn't do that well for Atlanta this year. The defense has been nearly top 10, actually, nearly top 10. But
He
but I
said
still-
both offense and
but
defense.
I still say it has to do with if anything, it might have to do with the division that they're in. I'm just saying. So for your boy Will, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun season for each and every one of us. And just like what Mike said, like each year that we do this, we're just slowly getting better and better and better. And I personally can't wait to see what season 3 has in store for us. We added in a little bit of things at a time each and every year. The first year we added a co-host. Second year we added we pretty much added not only a new intro, but also sports bets. We added that into our system, and the Sunday wake up show. You're gonna be there, Mike?
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Well,
But
love the vote of confidence.
I'm fucking with you. You know that. And next year, who knows what's gonna happen? So you're gonna see us do a little bit more memes throughout the playoffs, throughout the year, just so that the page can stay a little bit relevant. Maybe get a new follower or two, maybe just one. I'm just being one. I don't want to be an overachiever. And from there, we're gonna do a little bit of writing during the year. Look out for a couple of YouTube videos that shows the end of the year to see who did good, who did bad, and all this other stuff. Some surprises from fantasy, and that's pretty much it. That's the wrap. That's the official wrap for us. So, Nate, if you're watching this, I'm coming after you. Repeating, let's go.
Mike, if you're listening, I beat you in the playoffs, and the Bills suck.
Everyone else, if you're listening, I'll see y'all in 2024, bro.
Dre, Michigan sucks.
Fires.
Mike's brother-in-law, do better.
Riverside Rams. They don't hate on the Riverside
okay,
Rams.
okay,
man.
okay, that
People
one needs-
still picking
okay,
up
that one
people.
needs to
This
be
man
said.
is still picking up and dropping people. He's still hitting the waiver wires. He's like battling for 6th place in the league. That's the dedication that Scotty has. All right.
Ninister, whatever. The biggest fall in history.
I'm playing golf yesterday, and Otis Montgomery Brawlers is like, why is Riverside Rams still picking people up? I said, let Scotty cook, man. Let Scotty cook.
Like, so,
As long as I'm in the league, Mike Lou's not winning. He'll be stuck on 5-time for a while. He'll turn into the 49ers.
is Mike? Wait, hold on. Is Manny just dropping all these bombs?
I want all the smoke.
At the last bit,
in this
at
league.
the last bit of the year, just because he's in the top 4 now.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that the
feels
shot
good.
that
He's
you're
feeling
firing?
different.
Anybody that's not Will or who to beat me last week cannot talk to me.
Well, that being said, I mean, Manny, you got smashed. I'm sorry, but good, but
8 points. It was luck.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how.
I didn't start Brees Hall. If I started Brees Hall, I'd be in the championship.
But you didn't. So pay attention next season as far as who to start and who not to start.
My
Because
biggest downfall was drafting way too many good running backs, and I never knew who to start.
Hey, well, the beautiful thing, the saga continues, man. We get to do it again next year, and then we can see what new excuses we all come up with. 'Cause I know I'll have a couple.
there we go. That's just
Should
how
have
we
taken
roll.
Tyreek Hill in the first round.
Didn't or you should wait.
I should have.
He was still available.
Yeah,
If
I
I
picked
didn't-
4th.
if I-
I took Eckler. He went right after I took Austin Eckler.
If I wasn't the first
Hurts.
overall pick, I would have won. The curse of the first overall.
You know what? You
pick.
did okay. You did okay for the first round, actually, for the first overall pick. You didn't. do
No,
that bad.
Justin Jefferson was hurt half the season,
Yeah, but you still, but your backups wasn't that terrible though. So
and he sucked last week.
see now, and he sucked last week. All right, now we're all just talking. So yeah. So that being said, you guys have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Whatever you guys are watching, whatever you guys are listening. Wake up show in the morning. One last time. And thank you guys for everyone who actually who joined our very first Instagram live. Shout out. You might not be there anymore, but still, shout out. So that'll be it for the day. You guys have a good night, good morning, good afternoon. Whatever you guys are listening, whatever you guys are watching. One last time, dudes. See you next season.